there. Welcome to another presentation for our Globe Sound Healing Conference. Today we have Suzanne Sterling. Hi, Suzanne.
Hi, everybody.
So, Suzanne is a musician, yogi, ritualist, and activist who has been performing and teaching transformational workshops for over 25 years. She's a founder of the Voice of Change, inspiring others to find their unique voice as a tool for conscious evolution, and co-founder of Off the Mat, Into the World. Suzanne has been featured at hundreds of international festivals and conference centers, and including Yoga Journal, Mega, Esalen Wanderlust, Bhakti Fest, World Festival of Sacred Music, and many more. Since 2007, she's been training leaders in activism and social justice through her co-founded organization Off the Mat Into the World. As director of OTM Siva Challenge humanitarian tours, she has spent time in the U.S., India, Cambodia, Haiti, Ecuador, and Africa working in community resilience and raising awareness about critical global issues. For nearly 30 years, Suzanne has worked with the international reclaiming community, co-creating public ritual for healing and social justice. She offers year-long trainings in sacred leadership as part of the nationwide faculty for yoga workers, Yoga Works teacher trainings, and is excitedly training facilitators in her signature Voice of Change work. She's also an instructor at the Institute,
That's
and
right.
she has released 5 solo albums and numerous DVD soundtracks. Her website is suzannesterling.com. So what have you been up to lately?
Trying to translate all that online.
Right, right, right.
Yeah.
What have you been
Um,
doing lately? Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's been a very interesting experience to try and have as much engagement online as possible because, as you know, as many of you listeners probably know, the physical impact of sound needs to be felt in our bodies, and so I'm trying to create ways to engage people. To keep engagement up rather than just receiving information, but actually having some experience of their own voice and their own sound, even in their own homes. And in some ways, it's easier because you're hopefully you'll have a little more privacy
Mm-hmm. You can get people from all over the world.
and have access to each other all over the globe,
Right.
which is the best thing about what's going on right now, for sure.
Cool. So here's the big question. What what would you do if you had all the money in the world?
All the
How
money.
would you help the planet? Right.
Um,
And those kind of.
I would redistribute quite a bit of it because right now a lot of the money of the planet is in the hands of very few people. I would definitely redistribute it, and I would invest in the kind of global solutions that are already, in many ways, already innovated, already here on the planet.
Mhm.
There are so many solutions to the biggest problems that we have, including hunger, including homelessness, including social and environmental injustices, including alternative energy use. It's almost like it's all there. It just there needs to be this sort of grokking by humanity that it's all there, and that
Uh,
we would all benefit from all of us understanding that we're part of this great web, and everything
right.
that every single one of us does impacts the whole. So
Nice.
any one of us living for ourselves, it's almost an illusion. It's like, you really
Mm-hmm.
think you're alone on this planet? Because you're not, you know? So that's what I would do.
Nice. So what's your presentation on today?
Today I want to talk to folks again. Hi, folks out there.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for joining us. It's such a pleasure to be with you and to be part of this. I just want to take a moment to honor David and the work that the Sound Healing Institute does. I've been honored to be on the faculty for quite a number of years now, and the more I do this work, the more I believe in it. I'll just say that, and we'll get into why that's so more into the class. But what I'm going to be talking about today is why is it important for us to find and use our voices now, and how to heal whatever wounds we have to our expression, which for many people are deep and multi-layered, so that we can be contributing to peace, to justice, to creating the world that we want to create. And it really is The final frontier for a lot of people is this injunction against expression. There's there's a whole spectrum of reasons why that might be happening, and we'll explore that today. And I want to give you some tips and tools about how to begin getting used to your own voice, playing with it, enjoying it, and also ask some deeper questions about how you want to use it, and how it becomes so challenging and such a big stumbling block for us. So I want to empower you today with your voice so that you can go out into the world and make change.
Perfect. Great. I want to say, the feedback from your classes is just unbelievable, and I've been in your classes as well. It's if anybody's got a blockage in the throat chakra, Suzanne's the deal, right? I mean, it's really amazing. She gets people in a vortex of sound where people start making sounds they never imagined. And it's really, you're just a master teacher, and I appreciate what you do so much.
Thank you, David.
Yeah. Well, okay, go ahead.
So I'm going to begin with the song. The words are: time has come to remember, wake from slumber, who we are, who we are, who we are. Shining thread in the darkness, world of wonder. We are stars, we are stars, we are stars. And you can sing this with me or just simply listen and enjoy, and then we'll go right into the meditation. The one thing I want to say is if you have a pen and paper nearby, that would be a good thing to have, because we're going to do some writing today. So perhaps take a moment while I'm singing or while you're singing along with me to go and get those things. Anything else you need, David?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. Shining thread in the darkness, world of wonder. We are stars, we are stars, we are stars. Time has come to remember, wake from slumber. Who we are, who we are, who we are. Shining thread in the darkness, world of wonder. We are stars, we are stars, we are stars. Time has come to remember, wake from slumber. Who we are, who we are, who we are. Shining thread in the darkness, world of wonder. We are stars, we are stars, we are stars. Time has come to remember, wake from slumber. We are, who we are, who we are. Shining thread in the darkness, world of wonder. We are stars, we are stars, we are stars. Time has come to remember, wake from slumber. Who we are, who we are, who we are. Shining thread in the darkness, world of wonder. We are stars, we are stars, we are stars. Time has come to remember, wake from slumber. Who we are, who we are, who we are. Shining thread in the darkness, world of wonder. We are stars, we are stars, we are stars. We are stars, we are stars. And as the song fades into deep silence, I invite you to, wherever you're sitting, bring your hands to your own body, perhaps one hand to your belly, one hand to your heart, or hands onto your thighs, and just begin to move your spine. So you're Just gently snaking the spine, waving the spine, however you want to think about it. Starting at the base of the spine, starting in the hips, and just letting the spine have this sense of fluidity. And as you have the spine moving in this way, see if you can tap into your breath. And deepen the breath. Perhaps breathing in as you roll forward, breathing out as you curl back, emptying the lungs, bringing the belly in toward the spine again. Inhale as you roll forward, exhale as you roll back, and then begin to start opening the mouth and releasing any tension you might be feeling in your teeth, your tongue, your jaw, your face. And then even perhaps, especially if you feel like you can, where you are, make a sound on that exhale, releasing something that needs to be released from your being, from your body today. So inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, exhaling, emptying out. One more, inhale. And exhale, come to center, reach the arms straight up overhead. You're just going to hold here for a few moments. So we're reaching the fingertips toward the sky, lengthening out of the hips, breathing across the ribs. This is going to be really important later as I show you how to turn your body into a resonant chamber or resonating chambers. But right now, I just simply want you to breathe across the ribs. Reach the arms up toward the sky. Feel the length through the front body, the back body, and the side body. Then bring the palms together. Press them to the ceiling and feel an even deeper stretch or a longer stretch along the side body. Then you can begin to make circles, circling around in one direction with the ribs and maybe even the hips, and then another direction with the ribs and hips. Just waking up the body gently. Hopefully your feet are on the floor. You can feel the bottoms of your feet. Go ahead and release the hands behind you, and then gently lift the head and the neck so you get a little stretch across the front of the neck, and then relax and open the mouth. Say ah, ah. And then let one ear fall toward one shoulder. We're just going to hang out here for a few moments, breathing. And if you want to get a little bit of a deeper stretch, you can bring the gaze down to the floor very, very gently here. We're stretching across sternocleidomastoids, which are the muscles of social engagement, and they really are a big part of where we hold our tension, our stress, and also a big part of what gets released and relieved through the act of singing. So we want to just gently wake up these muscles. Let's come through center. Perhaps feel what that feels like. Maybe a little shoulder circle here, and then other side. Ear goes toward the shoulder. Breathing. Just lengthening out. So you're lengthening out through that opposite arm, releasing the head, letting it go, and then gently bringing the gaze toward the floor. Up through center, gently bringing the gaze to the ceiling, breathing nice and slow here, just feeling for, oh, there's where that tension and stress gets held. Oh, there it is. Okay. And again, especially because so many of us are on Zoom these days, these muscles tend to like hike up. So you want to keep them opening, keeping relaxing, lifting the sternum. Okay, so feeling the bottoms of your feet, just let your hands rest gently on your body here. Closing the eyes, bringing your attention inward. And feeling for a moment into your dedication to your own healing process, your dedication to perhaps being a sound healer. I'm imagining many of you watching this are already sound healers. Many of you watching this are heading in that direction or have had an incredibly profound experience through sound yourself. So just feel into that part of you that knows you are this living, walking antenna or many antennas, very perceptive to what's all around you, right? And these times that we're living in right now are very intense. There's a lot of what's been under the surface rising, we could say. There's a lot of division. There's isolation for many folks. There is a sense of knowing some of the inequities that have been sort of maybe in the background, that are sort of rising up, and you may be feeling that in your own body. You may be feeling that sense of isolation. You may be feeling that sense of maybe even fear. And what I want to do is acknowledge that that is perfectly normal, and that we want to be able to bring some of these tools, especially the tool of our own voice, into play in these times, because it is one of the main tools for releasing stress and trauma from the body. And this is what we want to begin to practice doing. And we can begin right now by just simply grounding, creating a grounding cord. Grounding cord is like the third prong in the electrical outlet. So you're bringing that third grounding cord. So perhaps imagine that right now you can send roots down into the earth beneath where you are, deep into the soil, anchoring down, and feeling perhaps the long, slow, deep vibrational quality of the earth itself, holding you, supporting you, anchoring you. Or maybe you think about it like gravity. But there is some way in which you are being held, and you can, in this moment, scan through your own subtle energy body and just simply release any of that surface tension or stress that you've been holding on to in any way. Just giving it into the earth, knowing that that longer, slower, deeper vibrational quality of the earth can absorb some of that for you. And then take a breath into your center, feeling for your center, feeling for the part of you that is absolutely resilient, feeling into the part of you that has that commitment to your own healing process, that has that commitment to perhaps supporting the healing of others through the power of sound, which, by the way, is profoundly powerful. And I'll talk about that in a minute. But right now, we just want to feel for that sense in yourself of why you're here. Why are you here? Giving your good time and energy and life force to this coming together of folks who are at the cutting edge of this new / very ancient technology called sound healing. And call in that deeper knowing, that wisdom that is you. Call in that part of you that says, yes, I want to be part of creating this. Yes, I want to be part of the solution. Yes, I want to be part of the healing. And as you may know from your own healing process, the healing process can sometimes mean we have to look at the things that we haven't wanted to look at. We've had to feel some things that are difficult or challenging. And so if emotion comes up for you as you do this process of feeling into your voice and the ways in which it perhaps has been silenced, that's perfectly normal too. And finally, feel out into the world right now. Feel out into the world that you're experiencing. What has been so challenging for you? What is some of the suffering that you're seeing that you may want to serve, that you may want to support the process of healing around? And just simply noticing, here's what I see in the world that breaks my heart. That's real. And that's right, the place where we want to go with this work, right? That's the place where we want to go with this work. And every one of us who has done our own healing process in some way or another has something to offer from that wisdom. And then also feel for what is calling you. What about the world is calling you out, perhaps calling you past that block or that fear or that resistance, and calling you forward and calling you out and saying, yes, come support, come help, come be a voice for change. Feel that thing that's calling you, that thing that is unequivocal for you. It's like, oh, that I must do that. Feel for that right now too in this meditation. And when you can feel those things, that strong inner conviction, plus this suffering that you know exists, maybe it's still there in you, still working through in you, or this new suffering of the world right now that's in so much unrest and this deep fear and the epidemic that we're in the midst of. And then also feel this sense of being called forth, called up, called out. To use your voice. And then bring your palms together at the heart in this ancient prayer pose, ancient prayer position, this entreaty to divine creative intelligence. And so we call divine creative intelligence into this moment. And we ask that divine creative intelligence to be with us, to move through us, to sing through us as instruments of grace, to sing through us as instruments of healing. May we be used well in the service of healing, in the service of awakening. Awakening to authenticity, awakening to connection, remembering community, remembering the power and the resonance of the collective coming together in the name of joy, in the name of celebration, in the name of grief, in the name of all of it, what it means to be human. So we say, divine creative intelligence, be with us in this moment, in this self-inquiry, in this way in which we're being called out and called forward to step out beyond that resistance, beyond that fear, beyond our own wounds even, being asked to transform them into our gifts. And for this opportunity and this incredible privilege, we give great thanks. Just let that land in your body. And I'm going to ask you to write for just a few moments on this question. And the question is, or actually it's a statement I'd like you to finish. It is important for me to strengthen and use my voice now because ... It is important for me to strengthen and use my voice now because ... So fill that in. Speak truth to yourself. Why is it important for you right now to use your voice? And you can just let that hand flow, stream of consciousness. Don't edit what comes out. Just simply keep writing. Just keep writing. This is an information for you about why you're here. This is information about you from your own soul. I'll give you a few moments to finish that one. Go ahead and take one more minute to finish up. And finish whatever sentence you're on, knowing that you can come back to this at any moment in time and keep doing this inquiry within yourself. All right, so tapping into this reason, why is it important for us to use our voices? And the reason I'm so passionate about this work is because it is really my life's work, is also my own wound. I have many wounds to my voice. You know, I will say that I was raised in environments that felt unsafe to my body, right? So that really impacted my ability to express myself. There was in my childhood quite a bit of chaos. There was some alcoholism and abuse. Not like some trauma that I've seen, but certainly there was enough trauma to impact me. And so this is my wound, and it's also, because I've been in deep relationship with this wound for so long, it's also my passion and my compassion. So that's why I'm suggesting to you that if you do have a wound to your voice, if you have a part of you that's been silenced, that the more you do this work, the more perhaps you'll be able to support other people in finding their voice. And I will say that everywhere I go, and I've been doing this work for many, many years, everywhere I go, I always ask people, were you told, how many of you at some point were told that you could not or should not sing, or could not or should not speak your truth? And it is without exception about 80 to 90% of the room all the time, right? Especially in here in the United States of America. You may not be here, but it's certainly endemic in many cultures today. This injunction against self-expression. And it's so pervasive that I started to really question, how did this happen? And I started thinking about many indigenous cultures have a lot of teaching about sound being a causative part of the universe, sound being a profound tool that we can use for liberation, for connection, for community building, and realizing that also many indigenous cultures had times and places for people to come together to express grief, to express rage, to express terror, to express joy, to express connection, all the things that make us alive as human beings, right? Our experience as human beings needs expression. We're hardwired, we're made to express everything that impacts us. That's normal to the system, the human system, right? We're supposed to be moving our bodies, and we're supposed to be expressing through our sounds and words. And we used to have very specific times and places to do that, to move that energy, that trauma, right? Or that stress, or that expression through us, and not hold on to it. But unfortunately, we now live in a culture in many ways, or cultures in many ways, where things that are impacting us, we just kind of hold on to them, right? So say you're like me and you've been through some kind of shocking trauma or developmental trauma, and if there's no nervous system release of that trauma, the body's holding on to it, right? And then compound that with, maybe you have a very stressful life, just living in the world, or working, or supporting your family, or whatever. Our bodies hold on to every experience we've had. And a lot of times, especially, if we go through a traumatic experience and we handle it, that's fine. But the definition of trauma actually is anything that overwhelms our capacity to cope. So if we go through something, especially as children, that feels overwhelming, we're gonna have trauma in our bodies from that. And this is part of what's going on in the world today, is many people walking around in slight or extreme cases of the fight or flight impulse, right? So the fight or flight is our response to trauma. What happens in the fight or flight impulse is adrenaline and cortisol runs through our systems. We get activated. Our muscles get activated with hormones that will allow us to fight off a danger, or flee from a danger, or we freeze. But for many of us, there's no space to get away. There's no way that we can fight the traumas or the stressors of daily life. So what we do is we enter into this freeze response. And many people are walking around, as I said, in a slight or an extreme version of the freeze response, right? I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. And then eventually organizing around that stress and tension. And that can become dis-ease. So what we're looking at is a block, right? A contraction or a block to the life force. And the life force needs to move for a healthy system to be healthy, right? We need the chi, the prana, the life force, whatever you want to call it, the energy of the body to be moving. And that's a really important key, because many of us can, have access to modalities where we can move our bodies, yoga, or, Tai Chi, or any of the other sort of somatic movement things. But then a lot of times the buck stops here, right? We don't want to move the energy through our throats because we've been told that we were going to sound bad, or we've been told to be polite and be quiet, or we've been told to be civilized. And what that's making us sick. Like it's quite literally making us sick. This not letting the flow of our natural life force move through us and through our sounds and through our voices. This is not a new idea. This is something that, again, ancient cultures had many teachings about the power of sound, many teachings about our own voice and the power of our words to 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 impact the world, right? So the interesting thing is sound moves matter. Sound moves matter, right? As we make sound, whether it's a word sound or a song sound or a sound, we take air into our lungs. As the air passes through the trachea, the vocal cords open and close, and they make a sound wave, which is a physical thing moving out into the world, impacting the world. And if you're watching this conference, you know all about this, right? You know that sound has its own innate intelligence. You know that sound actually moves matter. But the point is that we make that. It's an ultimate act of magic to take in air and shape it into a physical sound wave. That's fascinating to me. And what we know about the universe now is that the universe is made up of particles moving through moving through time and space as waves. And all the waves are moving at different rates of vibration or frequency. This is all really important because that's going to impact us on the inside, and it's going to move out into the world and make impact in that way. So you could look at it like we're living in this soup of vibrational fields, and we impact that soup of vibrational fields. And what we want to do is have the vibrational field of our health system or our energy system be in harmonic balance with itself. And the thing that takes it into dissonance or out of balance is blocks to the flow. Some other things too, but blocks to the flow initially. So what we want to do is get used to moving emotion as sound through our bodies and releasing or rinsing out trauma and stress. It's one of the main tools that we have is our voice. And I know that it works. Then what happens is this lovely thing called resonance. And resonance is when two or more vibrational patterns match up. There's an amplification of the field, right? So it's like when an opera singer sings a note that matches the wine glass. It shatters because there's an amplification of the field. This is what happens when human beings come together and breathe together and move together. Our heart rates start to sync up, our brain waves begin to sync up, and we enter into a collective state of consciousness or resonance, right? And in that collective state of consciousness or resonance, something greater than the sum of its parts gets created. And the small part of our brain that tells us we're separate measurably goes to sleep. So we get this powerful resonance that happens when human beings come together and express together. And this is the power of not only our own individual liberation of our voices, but the collective liberation of voices. And music and sound and the voice have been used in part of, in community gatherings and in many cultures, practices for millennia. We're just kind of sort of like realizing, oh, this is, I will say, speak with I statements. I'm realizing this is part of what's missing in our modern culture. Times and places for us to come together and have full permission to collectively and individually express. And what happens is if we lose our ability to do that, we also lose touch with our creativity. And in order to make change in the world, in order to be an advocate, like literally advocate, speaking out on behalf of the world that we want to live in, we have to tap into that permission. And we have to look at why don't I have permission? Or where did that injunction against expression come from? Where did that inner critic come in, and how does it come in and silence me? So this parsing out of the wounds to the voice is very personal. You might have had at some point in your life someone tell you stop singing or don't use your voice, right? That may be part of what's going on for you. There's also a way in which we hold ancestral trauma in our DNA. That's actually been proven, right? It's so interesting because many of the things that come to us from ancient culture, sound healing, the power of sound, power of our words, vibrational healing, ancestral beings around us moving through us, they knew all this stuff thousands of years ago, and we're now proving it with our sophisticated measuring instruments and or science. But it's very interesting, especially in the sound healing realm, how we're actually proving things that in the past were just natural part of culture. Maybe as we go through this whole process of needing to have scientific proof or empirical proof of things, we'll get to the point where we get back to that same place where we're in much more harmonic relationship with the way things are. Because the natural state of the world, or the state of the natural world, is actually in harmonic balance with itself, fascinatingly. The world is sound, as they say. And if you haven't read that amazing book, there is a book called Nada Brahma by Joaquin Ernst Berendt, and the subtitle is The World is Sound. It's a great, great book. Anyway, so we're living in this soup of vibrational fields, and that is impacting us. And there are lots of sounds around us. There's lots of vibrational fields around us that are impacting us on a health level all the time. And one of the things that we can do to not be so overwhelmed vibrationally is we can actually make vibration from the inside out. We can refute that overwhelming onslaught of vibrational information that's around us, especially these days, by healing ourselves from the inside out, finding our voice, using our voice, and emanating that whatever our voice is, the not only the beautiful sounds that want to come out of us, but also the truth that wants to come out of us, right? So one of the things that I know about truth, and when I say truth, I mean my authentic truth that may be different from all the conditioning of the overculture, everything I might have been taught. That authentic truth that is mine, if I do some of that self-inquiry, if I do some of that healing, that truth is actually very, very good. If I can live into it, embody it, and speak it, that truth actually brings me to a healthier state of being. They're doing a lot of research now about truth is its own resonant field. And when we live into and embody our own truth, when there is a consonance between our thoughts and our actions and our being, something magical happens with our health. So we could go more into that, but I'm going to just leave it there, and perhaps that's for another workshop. But the point is that when we're uncovering this, we want to look at what am I carrying in terms of my own wounds, and then also what am I carrying in terms of my ancestral pieces, right? So maybe your grandparents survived the Holocaust, and they might have in their need or desire to protect you, they might have said, don't speak your truth. It's not safe. It's dangerous, right? Maybe you're carrying information about the suppression of the voices of women for the last 4,000 years. Maybe you are a person of color, and your community's collective voice has been systematically silenced through systemic racism. There are a lot of voices that are collective voices that have been silenced that are now actually rising up and finding a way to be heard. And that's a really important piece, So there's a lot to parse out here when we talk about becoming a voice of change. It's not just the physiology of the voice, it's also really realizing how the wounds got there in the first place, and then beginning to unwind some of those wounds. The releasing of trauma, the giving ourselves permission to express, the tapping into our inherent creativity, the becoming an advocate for change. This is all tied into allowing ourselves to be instruments, just allowing ourselves to be instruments. So I want to show you some very simple things that you can do to begin to work with yourself, give yourself permission. First thing I want you to do is give great thanks to your inner critic. Like starting here, oh, inner critic, you have protected me so well, and I so appreciate it. Maybe you protected me, maybe you saved my life. Right now, in this moment, I'm going to ask you to step aside, and I'm going to call in that joyful, playful part of me that is, a young child, right? And I'm going to just allow that sense of freedom, that sense of expression, that sense of anything goes, any sound can come out. I'm not going to edit it. I'm not going to say it's bad. Interestingly, I have met many people who come up to me and they're like, I've always wanted to sing, but I can't. And I have never met anyone who cannot sing. But I have met people who are not familiar with their instrument. So what I want to show you is that this is your instrument. The body is the instrument. All the sounds that you can make live in your body, such that if you know where they live in your body, you can find them. Okay, so we've asked that inner critic to take a vacation for a moment, and we're just going to play with sound. Okay, so the first thing I want you to do is take your hands to your ribs like this. You're not going to put your hands on your waist, but on your ribs. And I want you to watch mine for a minute, because you can get a really good expansion through the ribs. You can get a big expansion. Watch this. That much expansion, and then you're going to hold it there by lifting up the lower abdominals and then bring the belly in toward the spine. I'm going to do that again. Inhale across the ribs. Hold that. Notice if your shoulders have risen up, relax the shoulders down, but you're still expanding across the rib cage. Then bring the belly in toward the spine as you exhale. Now we're going to add sound. Inhale in. Hold that. And you're going from the beginning of the breath to the end of the breath, okay? And what you're playing with here is breath control, which is interesting, right? The thing about our voices is that we don't need to use a lot of air to get the kind of power or fullness or richness or resonance that we want in our voices. We only have to use a little thin stream of air, but we have to engage the core abdominals pretty strongly, the support system for the voice. In other words, we don't sing from here. This is where the air gets shaped, okay? We sing, all of the power comes from this diaphragmatic abdominal, working hard to support the freedom and the liberation of the voice, okay? So what we're playing with is not forcing air past the vocal cords. We're actually holding the air in the body and allowing the body to resonate with the sound, okay? So it's the difference between ah, like this forced sound versus ah. I could do the second sound all day because there's support there, there's relaxation in the throat, and there's a sense of allowing the resonance to move through me. I'm making space for the sound rather than squeezing it out. Okay, so that breath is key to continually taking the work out of the throat, bringing it down into the body. If you don't learn anything else from me, take that one. Practice it all the time. This goes for speaking as much as it goes for singing. So now we're going to make some sounds. Remember I was talking about resonance. Well, resonance is giving space in the body so that the sound waves can match up with each other and gain that exponential increase without more force or power. So we're going to make space in the body. The first resonating space we're going to make is the low notes. We're going to allow them to move down into the chest. And what I want you to do is bring one hand onto your chest or both hands onto your chest. And I want you to make a low tone. You're still breathing the way I taught you before. And then we're going to feel that hand that's on your chest vibrate physically. It doesn't matter what it sounds like. Here we go. Big breath. One more of those. And just notice what it feels like to make a low sound. If you don't hang out in that part of your voice very much, it's very interesting to try and get the sound in the body. I will say that if you're wanting to advocate, if you're wanting to step out in the world, if you're wanting to be heard, if you're wanting to make a difference, getting your voice in your body and allowing your body to hold your voice. In other words, embodying your truth, embodying your voice. If you speak from that place, you can say less words and have more impact. Okay? So what we're really trying to do is ground the voice into the body and allow it to expand so that it's almost like we're speaking our truth from every cell in our body. And when people speak from that place, ooh, powerful. Okay. Next, we're going to move into the back of the throat. So I want you to yawn if you can. And you can see the back of my throat. The tongue is dropped down. The soft palate's lifted. You can see the little uvula in the back. So we're going to get as wide as possible, not only through the front of the mouth, but through the back of the throat. Okay, so you want to get wide open. We're going to open our arms out wide. And again, rather than pushing the sound out, open in all directions with the sound. Let it start small and then expand in your body. Big breath. And you're feeling for or listening for any closure in the back of the throat. Okay, so see if you can just go against the tightening, the contraction, or the closure of the back of the throat. Big breath one more time. And then finally, we're going to move up into the brain cavity and the nasal passages. And this one's kind of fun. We're going to go right up to the top of the head, vibrating and buzzing in the top of the head. You don't want to go for a loud sound here. You want to go for actually a soft, supported sound. So, and if that felt comfortable for you, try ee-ah, ee-ah, and see if you can just open and close your mouth, okay? Beautiful. So those are the three places. Now, as you sing, the notes are going to live down in the body, they're going to live in the throat, they're going to live up in the head, and you want to get really used to playing with moving through all of those physical places in your body so that when you're singing, it's not like, but it's more you have one instrument. And here's the way you know you're singing correctly or effortlessly or in a way that's not going to hurt you, is if you're making sound and you're like, who is that? If it feels like, who's making a sound? That's what you want. That is the experience you want to have. You are literally opening the channel and giving us great amount of support system for the sound to move through you and get shaped into the sound waves. That's just really what we're doing here. Last thing we're going to do is what's called a frequency sweep from the top note to the bottom note. And again, I don't care what it sounds like. What I want you to feel is that you can feel it, right? Sound is a physical experience. They say that singers should be able to sing without hearing themselves at all because they know where every single note resonates perfectly in their body, okay? So we're going to go like this. And again. Now remember the core abdominals are working really hard. The mouth and the throat stays wide open. The sound is moving down through us. There's no manipulation necessary. And just notice what it feels like right now to be that living instrument, to be that fluid, right? To allow these different frequencies to have voice within you. Now we're going to play with that just a little bit more. And I'm going to ask you some more self-inquiry questions. But first, what I want you to do now is just simply play with your voice. So on ah or o, explore your own voice. So like this. Your voice will be here for 2 minutes. I'll be doing it too. You don't have to sing what I'm singing. Just let my whatever I'm doing be a ground of being for your own exploration of your own voice. Don't edit. Don't let that inner critic come back in. Just simply let yourself express. Okay, and maybe even if there's an emotion that comes up or something that wants to be released, give it voice. Here we go. And before you open your eyes, just simply feel that permission to express. Permission to express. Permission to express. You have a voice. The world needs to hear your voice, your story. The world needs to hear your voice, your story. And the world also needs your deep listening. And the one thing I know about being effective activists, being effective change makers in the world is we have to learn how to take responsibility for our own wounds and then be clear about the choices and the words that we're using. Be clear and stay grounded and resourced when we communicate, especially when we communicate in challenging situations or communicate across differences of opinion. We have to live into and keep being in this process of self-inquiry around our own truth. And we have to learn to listen. So as much as we talk in the world of sound healing about the power of our voice, the power of our story, perhaps speaking out, perhaps telling, speaking about your challenges or your resilience or your joys, also doing some deep listening, and especially listening to the voices that haven't been heard or listening to the communities whose voices have been silenced. Now's the time to cultivate that sense of really actually being able to hear. And this is something that also the ancient yogis talked about as well. The ancient yogis said, nada yoga or sound yoga is a huge path of yoga in the yoga realms. And one of the main pieces that we can work with, besides just the power of words and the power of sound and the power of moving sound shamanically through our bodies, and the power of our devotional song is the power of listening. So just planting that seed for you as you move out into the world, as you give yourself permission. Notice also the ways in which you're able to listen to others. Are you able to listen to others? So we're going to sing in just a moment, but I want to ask you a few questions or leave you with a few questions that you might want to inquire about on your own. The first question is, where in your life are you able to live into and embody your truth? Are there places in your life where you can fully be who you are? Maybe that's in your home with your family, or maybe even in your workplace. That would be amazing if you could just actually live into and embody the truth of who you are. I think for some people that's not the case, but for some people you can. You have the kind of work that is in consonance with who you are. And if so, yay! Are you able to live into and embody and speak your truth with your family or with your community? Are you able to live into the truth of your spirituality or the truth of your sexuality? Who are you at the core, and how much of that is being hidden and how much of that is actually being able to be experienced by you? And then in equal measure, where are the places where that's perhaps not safe for you or not available to you? And we're just noticing without judgment. This isn't about beating ourselves up. This is just about looking at, oh, here's where it's safe for me to be myself. Here's where it's welcomed for me to be myself. And here's where it's not safe or welcomed for me to be myself or to live into my truth. Those are interesting things to note. Maybe you can shift them, maybe you can't. But right now we're just going for the awareness of that. Another question I'm inviting you to think about is, what were you taught about your self-expression in your family of origin, right? Was your voice welcomed? Was your voice dismissed? Was your voice silenced? And that's going to impact the kind of work that you want to do. I think the more we were potentially either personally or culturally or ancestrally silenced, the more we have to do this work, the more profound this work becomes for us, and the more powerful it can become. Because when we're tapping into something that has been hidden for so long, we're unleashing something. And I like to think of it as unleashing our creativity, right? What's that saying? We're not going to come up with solutions for the world by thinking about it with the same consciousness with which we created the problems, right? So the world right now is calling for us to imagine something different, right? Imagine something different. And trauma, as they say in the trauma healing world, trauma suppresses imagination, right? So what we want to do is begin to look at and excavate and heal those traumas that we experienced or are experiencing, so that we can tap into our imagination, so we can tap into thinking about, what is the world I want to live in? And to David's question, if I had all the money in the world, what would I do with it? It's such a great question. Something to inquire about, right? What is the world that you want to advocate for? And then the last question I would love for you to just kind of sit with, examine, be with, let move through you and through your life is, are there truths untold? Are there things that you've wanted to speak into or say or communicate that are still living in you? You haven't spoken them yet. And if they're living in you, where are they living in you, right? Do those unspoken truths live in your throat? Do they live in your heart? Do they live in your guts? I know that for me, even after doing this work for this long and being a professional musician and being a teacher for 30 years, I still have moments, because this is my wound, I still have moments where when I go to speak certain truths to certain people, I feel like I'm going to die. And that again is very normal, because that is the trauma response. That's the response that my body holds because it wasn't safe at a certain point in my childhood. So I have to utilize tools, right? If I'm going to go and live into or speak a difficult truth or go into a difficult conversation, I will feel my feet on the floor. I'll feel that sense of grounding. I'll bring my hands to my own body. I'll feel where I begin and end, that I'm safe in this moment. And I will use the tool of breath and grounding and centering to be able to take baby steps in terms of telling truths. And I will also use those tools as I listen to others, perhaps who don't have the same opinion that I have, in order to have communication. Because one of the things that's going on right now is people just yelling at each other and no one hearing anything that anyone's saying, right? So what if we created ways for truth to come out, to be heard, to be spoken? Maybe there might be some reconciliation, right? The beautiful, I love that title of the trials that went on post apartheid in South Africa. They were called Truth and Reconciliation, right? So it wasn't just reconciliation; it was truth telling and reconciliation. And that process, if you've ever read about it, was quite intense for people involved in it, and successful in many ways too. Okay, so hopefully you get a picture of this sort of methodology that I've created, which is about that when we talk about liberating the voice, we can talk about it just in a purely physical way, but there are many, many impacts, many, many consequences to doing this that we can be conscious about as well. And that when we do this work, it is actually revolutionary because it awakens us and heals us at a very, very deep level. And if we could, especially after this pandemic is over, if we could remember that it's important for humans to come together and do this expression work together. It's actually really, I always say we are hardwired for self-expression in community. We are hardwired for self-expression in community. That's what human beings are made for. And we have a remembering of this. So if there's any way that you can, find your voice, use your voice, support other people in using their voice, and uplift voices that haven't been heard or have been silenced, and bring folks together to experience that collective power that comes from collective song, please, please, please know that you have full permission. Okay. So I want to close with a song. The words are very simple to this song, actually. This song, may we remember, may we remember, may we remember who we really are. That's the whole song. So you might notice that. So I've been a long time musician, and I have done a lot of singing in Sanskrit, a lot of kirtan, and right now I'm really focusing and concentrating on creating some chants in English. I have an album called Wings, which is just all short English language chants. I do have a bunch of other albums too, but this one is songs and chants that I created specifically for groups of people to sing together. So if you're interested in that, you can check that out. And there's a lot of other ones too. But what I'm saying is I'm wanting to re-sacralize my language. So if you speak English, write songs in English. If you speak Spanish, write songs in Spanish. Really interested in honoring the sacredness of those ancient languages and also bringing the sacred into the now. So may we remember, may we remember, may we remember who we really are. And you can sing what I'm singing or create your own version, create your own words. Let yourself have full permission to just enjoy your voice. Feeling the pleasure pure expression, innocence, and a deep devotion through your singing. May we remember, may we remember, may we remember who we really are. May we remember, may we remember, may we remember who we really So we're going to close with a gentle prayer. Feel your feet on the floor one more time, that grounding, that deep connection with earth, with the great living web of all beings, knowing that each of us is a part of this web, that our actions matter, that our words matter, that our thoughts matter, our songs matter, our stories matter. And once again, we give thanks for whatever the forces are that allowed us the privilege of being able to do this work, this healing work, this work of enabling ourselves to step out of our wounds, perhaps step out of our fears and move into courageousness, move into resilience, move into speaking truth and living truth and embodying truth and the health that comes from that. And most especially giving thanks for all the songs that have been kept alive for many centuries, the songs and the teachings that have come to us from many cultures, many centuries. May we sing new songs into being. May we sing new culture into being. May we know that this healing of our own voice, our own wounds, is a crucial part of the evolution of this planet. Nothing less and nothing more. Just simply living into our expression, our imagination, and our creativity is needed now. And so if there's any little, even tiny little part of you that's saying yes to that, I invite you to do this work. As innocuous as it seems, do this work. Find your voice. Let your voice come through daily. Notice what happens. And you might find that soon you are allowing more and more expression, allowing more and more communication, more and more truth, without editing, without suppressing, just allowing it to come through. And then also we remember to, as we're opening our avenues and pathways of expression, we're remembering to open our avenues and pathways of deep listening and deep witnessing others, and that is so healing. So for this opportunity to be together here, for this opportunity to have this conversation with you, all of you out there, I give great thanks, and I can't wait to see how your voice and your song and your story comes out into the world. Namaste and blessed be.
Thank you. There's one little epiphany that I had.
What's that?
And that is that the sadness that a lot of people are afraid to feel is the preciousness of when you sing. And when many people sing, the sorrow in the voice. And that sorrow can so easily just be lifted to just complete ecstasy.
Yes. Yes.
Just like you start, it's like you think, okay, it's a little sad, and it's like, oh my God, I'm so high now, right? Yeah. It's kind of like the blues in a way.
Yeah, it's the ultimate alchemy. To me, it's like despair, whatever despair I have, if I uplift that, if I give that permission, like you said, it's like not pretending that it's not there, but actually letting it move through me. Right. It does transform. It actually does. It's one of the greatest technologies for turning despair into joy that we possess. Yeah. It's amazing. And yes, there's a lot of sadness. And yes, if we sing, right, like the blues, if we sing the blues of this time or sing the blues of our own wounds, something moves, something shifts, and there's something so soothing about that for us.
Right. just make the sound of it.
Yeah, exactly. Let whatever the sound is move through you. Give it expression. There's healing
Right,
there.
right.
Yeah.
Thank you for all of your expertise and
Yes.
expression.
My pleasure.
Really appreciate it.